Welcome to day 9 of the book reading of Guru Leela 3, Grace That Heals. The first story is written by Rakshita Anand from Australia. From Darkness to Light reads the title. My Maitri sessions were more than just an experience of deep cleansing or healing. This was the grace and the protection of Mohanji that saved my life when I was sinking into darkness. Here is my story of a journey from darkness to light that Mohanji carried me into through very powerful Maitri sessions. Somewhere in November 2018, I noticed that I was getting angrier than usual. I attributed it to consciousness kriya as I thought that my stored emotions were coming out and that it was a good sign. As much as I tried to watch it and let go, I was seeing that it was consuming me up. By about December first week, I was in a rage with uncontrollable anger towards everyone and everything. I was spitting venom with every word that I spoke to my husband. Because I was aware of my anger but unable to control it, I decided not to hurt anyone and came out of all social media channels such as WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. And that helped me a bit. Little did I know that it was all momentary. I continued to be consumed in my anger, which went to a point where I was angry with myself. Anger, with guilt added to it, was a perfect recipe that took complete control over me and my emotions, though I was witnessing it. Low self esteem has always been an issue with me, and this added to the other emotions, and it pushed me to a point where I felt I was not worthy in this world, and all I wanted to do was take away my own life, including a night dedicated to thinking about the best way to commit suicide. Every conversation, even an extremely casual one, became a huge fight with my husband. He was very busy with work and the Mohanji Foundation as well at that time, and he was unable to devote much time to me, which poured fuel to my anger. I desperately needed some attention from him, which was zero at that point. All my anger was now diverted towards Mohanji as I felt that he was keeping me alive, making me go through so much pain, anger, and suffering. Every time I was angry at him, I was also contemplating on all the good things he brought into my life, all the good stuff that made me what I am today. However, I felt that Mohanji was the sole reason why my husband wasn't spending any time with me. All these thoughts made me feel angry, unworthy, guilty, and all that I wanted to do at that time was to exit this life once and for all so that all this would be over in a matter of hours. I even decided to burn myself as I thought that I would leave with no trace of me in this world. While I was going through all these in stages, I also wanted to immerse myself into some positivity. So I listened to discourses, practiced Carnatic music, learning from my mom, who is a professional vocalist herself, started reading autobiography of a yogi, and increased my chanting, continued with my kriya, read a few chapters of the Sai Satcharita, etc. But I had no desire to talk to anyone about this other than my husband, who turned a deaf ear as he was busy and had no time for me. While I was trying to keep up the positivity, the anger and negativity were fully consuming me to a point where I lost control of my emotions. Words fail to do justice to explain what I went through, how I felt, and most importantly, how I was surviving both physically and mentally. I was battling it in my mind, and alas, I was waging a lone and a losing battle. I shared my situation with a close Mohanji family member. As much as this person was trying to help me out, the guidance and the words spoken made me angrier than ever. So I decided to shut myself down totally. I lost all the strength fighting this battle alone. One day, after the Kriya practice, I prayed to Mohanji to help me come out of this. I said, I don't want anyone to help me. You come and help me out of this. I don't feel like talking to anyone else. He did hear me, I know, because after a lot of struggle, I felt I should message Militia, a Maitri practitioner, about what was happening. Militia was swift in action. We started our Maitri sessions the next day. She saw that I attracted dark energy that was feeding off my anger and made it more profound so that it could survive in me. This energy even tried to cut off our Skype connection and attack Militia, for she was trying to help me out. Finally, Shirdi Baba and Lord Ganesha came and pushed this dark energy away and sent it to the light. This was during the first session. On the second day before the session, I was browsing for the meaning of Lalita Sahasranama, thousand names of Sri Lalita, the most powerful goddess. I was also internally talking to the goddess, saying, "Why don't you take pity on me and help me out? You see the struggle I'm going through. Don't you have any compassion towards me? Am I not your child?" We always have Om chanting in Mohanji's voice constantly on loop, playing near our altar at medium volume. I had kept the doors of the temple closed so that only a very soft sound of Om comes out to where I sit. As I was talking to the goddess, I heard a very loud chant song, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, a Devi mantra. I thought it was too loud and possibly coming out of the neighbor's house, but I knew they never play any devotional music, and all the doors and the windows of my house were closed, so there was no way that the sound could trickle in this loud into my house. I listened to it more closely and realized that the song was playing from my meditation hall, that too very loudly. I opened the doors of my temple, ran inside, and to my surprise, yes, it was playing from our music player. I couldn't believe what was happening. I was trying to analyze it with my logical mind and thought it must be an error from my player. So I decided to let it run and came back to my laptop. But suddenly, I ran back to the temple, took the player, and saw it was displaying the text playing Om Mohanji, but the music being played on the device was Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. I paused the music and played it again. This time it played Om by Mohanji. That is when it struck me that Sri Lalita Tripura Sundari was showing her presence to me. She had been listening to me. I cried, thanking her and Mohanji for this. That evening after the session, Militia had tears in her eyes. She said she had never witnessed such deep cleansing. She had a wonderful vision where Mohanji turned into Jesus and held me in his arms, and some divine being that she had never seen, a being so full of love, came and healed my throat chakra. She expressed it in such a way that I couldn't even guess who that divine being could be, one so full of motherly love. But I narrated what happened that afternoon. Tearfully, she said, "Now I know who else could that divine being be other than the mother herself. She is the only one who can be so full of love, which words cannot describe." By about the second session of the Maitri, the dark energy completely left me, and I felt a lot of relief in general. It is only through the grace that I remembered to surrender to Mohanji and contemplate on the good things he brought into my life. Such awareness wouldn't have happened without his protection and grace. Words can never convey my gratitude towards Mohanji, Parabrahma Swarupa, the reflection of the divine consciousness, without whom I will cease to survive. Narration from the Maitri practitioner, Milisha. The Maitri session with Rakshita left me so uplifted and energized that I felt my feet were not touching the ground the whole day long. I was flying in high energies of love. As we started the session, Mohanji clearly showed me how I was sitting by Rakshita in a room on the floor, and my body was light with arms outstretched, channeling Mohanji's healing energy to her. Just to explain that I was in Joburg, and Rakshita was in Melbourne at that time. What I was shown was that Rakshita's throat was cut up and under attack by dark entities. The next scene I witnessed was of Mohanji coming towards us, enveloped in bright white and golden light. Suddenly, his face turned into the face of Jesus, and he took Rakshita in her arms and healed her. Mohanji, the shield of protection, everywhere all the time. The light was blinding and the energy was so powerful. I felt that in the presence of such a light, no negativity can survive. That's exactly what happened after the Maitri. The darkness was gone. Moving to the heart center, I felt an explosion of love, so intense that it enveloped me too and filled us both up. It is the love that heals, aligns, and completes. Only after talking to Rakshita, I realized it was Divine Mother's presence as she had sincerely prayed to her before the healing. All that happened was deeply transformative and healing. This was possible only due to the grace and the power of Mohanji. Thank you, Mohanji, for your love and protection. Anchored in Love. This one is written by Rekha Murali, India. Mohanji's comparison has Mohanji's comparison, Mohanji's compassion has no boundaries. This is what I experienced in my initial interactions with Mohanji. When he says, I am with you, he really means it. These are not mere words. The extent to which he clears us, empties us of all samskaras, impressions, and calming baggage to fill us with the divine can be realized only to a very small extent. For the gross mind, such as mine, to recognize this, it took 2 years. Since 2013, I had been suffering from severe low back pain caused by a nerve prolapse requiring surgery. The doctor had warned me that I needed to be very careful and put me on medications to prolong the inevitable. But there was a pattern to the pain. Every 6 months from there on, it would start hurting, and I would be bedridden for nearly a month, unable to take care of my basic needs. I was on alternate healing and allopathy during this time. In 2015, I met Mohanji and soon after started communicating with him through chats. The following year, 2016, I was bracing myself for another painful relapse of the back pain and it happened. And it happened. I would just lie on my bed crying and mentally pleading with Mohanji to remove the pain. Once, while on a real chat with him, I mentioned my condition to him for the first time and added that I was going wrong somewhere. He said, You're going wrong nowhere. You need to tame your mind, which is overworked. Connect to me more intensely. Leave your mind with me. And when you detach your mind from your pain, the pain will reduce. Although I knew that he was right, at that point, the pain was unbearable and my mind seemed to take control. How do I detach from the mind, particularly when bedridden and unable to even turn or move? It is then that the mind becomes overactive and plants its seeds. Little did I know then that he had been working on me as promised and had removed a lot of blockages from the mind and the body. Soon after, Mohanji came to Chennai, where I live, and he sent word that he would like to meet me. I still had the back pain, but could move around gently. Luckily for me, he was staying at my sister's place, and my sister asked me to spend the night there too. Surprisingly, I had no pain when I was in his energy field. I took his blessings, and to my astonishment, I was able to offer my pranams at his feet, which until that point was an impossible task. I assisted my sister with serving him and spent a blissful evening. Again, I was totally unaware that he was working on me and healing my condition. The next morning, in a gentle and a loving voice, Mohanji asked how my back was. I was feeling so happy that I could not even reply and showed him the thumbs up sign. My heart was filled with gratitude and bliss. He then left for his next destination. Thereafter, I recovered completely within a month and was able to resume most of my other activities including driving. But the most part is that since then, for the last 2 years, I have not had a single attack of back pain. In such a casual way, Mohanji held my hand, carried me through a difficult part of my life, and showered me, excuse me, with his healing blessings and love. I am forever grateful to him. He taught me the biggest lesson in life, to let go of the mind. Since then, whenever the mind takes charge, I try to push it back as his words resonate with me. Pain is the body, suffering is the mind. Why should pain affect the mind when your mind is connected to me? You can convert every pain to karmic relief by detaching your mind from it. I'm always with you. Mohanji is our anchor, carrying us through the turbulence of life, doing his job thoroughly for our highest good. His compassion and unconditional love can only be experienced as it can never be described in words. He ceaselessly works to help every soul that is connected to him. Tears of gratitude flow as I connect with him and surrender to his will. Soon in 2018, Mohanji empowered me as his Acharya. As a Mohanji Acharya, I seem to come across various incidents and people who desperately cry out for his help. This brought into focus other incidents in the past 4 years where I have been an instrument to reach out to people who needed him. Let me share a major incident which was an eye opener for me and the people involved in it. Mohanji's magic wand is what brought a friend out of the deep and the dark wood one that she found herself in. I'm not revealing the name of the person concerned, as what matters is not the name, but the work of the Guru. It highlights the importance of a living master in our lives, and only thing we can do is hold on to this anchor. The friend changed from a chirpy, friendly person to a completely depressed soul overnight. She surrendered completely to the dark forces in her mind, neglecting her family and friends. Life turned topsy turvy for her entire family, and all hell broke loose. I started counseling her, thinking that it would help, and not understanding the severity of her condition. Medical help was sought, and she was put on medication. There was no one to even monitor if she was taking her medications regularly. Without getting into details of the agony and the pain suffered by her and her family, it was then I reached out to Mohanji feeling helpless and worried. He barely knew her, in this lifetime at least, but set to work on her. Connecting to the iCard would have helped, but she was in no condition to do it. He advised me to take her to temples, increase her bhakti, while relentlessly he worked on her for 2 whole years. He invited her for a retreat which helped him heal her rapidly. The first time, as there were repeats of the attack, she came out of her condition within 4 months. That is when she attended the retreat. A year later, depression set in again. But by then, she had received Shaktipat and healing from Mohanji. This time, it was only a clearing of few traces embedded in her. She was by then deeply connected to Mohanji, and since 2017, she has been completely cured and is now leading a happy and a fulfilling life with her family. Having witnessed this success story, I can strongly say with conviction that it was a miracle. It was Mohanji's healing and protection that brought her back on her feet and once again helped her hold the reins of the household. Soon after, I became a Maitri practitioner and have seen miraculous ways through which Mohanji operates. It is indeed magical. A recent incident was that of a 71-year-old lady who recovered speedily through a distance Maitri method. I got a call from a friend of our Mohanji family asking for distance healing for her aunt who was in the ICU having blood clots in her brain causing repeated falls. It is amazing how Mohanji worked on her aunt during the first session. Mohanji ensured that I focused on the region of the head and he revealed two big clots there. I also saw a bluish yellow light entering the two clots. When I checked with my friend, she did confirm that there were two clots in her aunt's brain which were not disintegrating. During the second session, Mohanji showed me one very small clot. Unfortunately, after that, the patient developed a severe headache, and we had a third session the next day. This was miraculous as I saw her brain cut open as though some surgery was being done. Surprisingly, the surgery was not done by doctors, but our healer Mohanji. She was discharged from the hospital that afternoon without surgery. What I had seen was Mohanji working on her, healing her with his powerful divine energy. Little do we know the way he operates. It is subtle and beautiful with no discomfort to the patient. I was left speechless. Physical healing, such as mine, a deep mental depression as that of my friends, or an intense surgery as that of this aunt, our beloved Mohanji takes care selflessly and with no expectations, be it physical, emotional, mental, spiritual baggage that we carry over lifetimes. It is Mohanji's grace that heals and protects us. All that we have to do is stay connected with Him with faith and the conviction that He will carry us towards our chosen path. It is indeed grace that heals. My heart overflows with gratitude as I realize the magnitude of the grace that He showers on us. The next story is by Sakshi Gupta in India. It, the title reads A Precious Gift. My daughter Gaurangi is a gift from Mohanji. We were trying for a baby for 2 years without any results. Then one day, Mohanji told me, I see that a baby is coming. You should prepare yourself for the baby. Like he said, within 2 months, I became pregnant. Then the real trial started. From the second month onwards, major complications happened due to ruptured membranes. It is extremely rare for a baby to survive something like this so early in a pregnancy. Even my gynecologist was amazed at how the baby was surviving in spite of so many complications. On hearing their concern, I would reassure myself that Mohanji was taking care. Although Mohanji was physically not in India, whenever I was worried that the pregnancy would not continue, he would message me or assure me in some way that everything would be all right. These timely reassurances gave me immense strength during this extremely worrying period. In my 8th month, I had a dream where I saw many people saying that this baby was not going to survive. But I also saw Mohanji was holding a small baby in his arms and smiling. Looking straight into my eyes, he said, Don't worry, your baby is safe and will be with you safe and sound. This is the power and magic of my master. Finally, my delivery date was getting closer. One day I received from Mohanji asking me, Where are you? I said, I'm at home, and he replied, Go and admit yourself in the hospital. The baby will be out soon. It was 2 p.m. I was shocked at this sudden and unexpected message and called my husband. He said, Don't worry, I will be home soon. Within half an hour, I was admitted to the hospital. Mohanji told me directly and clearly, I am with you. My doctor was surprised at our sudden arrival and asked what's happening. Within a few minutes, my pain started, and 2 hours, my baby was delivered. It was a normal delivery without any complications. I had a healthy baby with a normal weight. In my delivery room, I saw Mohanji and Baba Sai. They were both there taking care of me. It all happened super fast. My God, even today, when I recall those moments, I get goosebumps. This is how Mohanji works, so unconditional, so loving, and works silently, as always, to protect us. I would like to share another experience of his loving protection, how Mohanji works and how he goes out of his way to help his devotees beyond explanations. There was some renovation work going on at my house. It was evening, so the carpenter and his team had already finished their work for the day. Two new windows were made for my daughter's room. My daughter Swasti was playing in the garden along with her younger sister. She was very excited to see what the carpenter had done that day. So she went near the window to open it in great excitement. But as luck would have it, the window was not nailed and it fell straight on my daughter's right toe. I was sitting in the other corner of the garden. He came running towards me, crying, Mama, my foot! I can't even move it. I pacified her and gave her some water, but she was crying so loudly in pain that even I couldn't hold back my tears. My husband and I took her to the bedroom, and there I saw Mohanji's picture. I started chanting and requested Mohanji to give her strength. I immediately messaged Mohanji about Swasti. Within 1 minute, he texted back, Don't worry, I will do something. Give her vibhuti. The moment I messaged Mohanji, Swasti stopped crying. I could feel his presence. I texted Mohanji that Swasti was settling down. He told me I can see. I have placed my hands on her feet. Within 5 minutes, Swasti started smiling and she was comfortable. It was magical, and it was the healing touch of my Mohanji that did wonders. My daughter, who was crying loudly, had settled down within 10 minutes, smiling. As per our routine, we did our evening aarti to Mohanji with tears of gratitude. Next day, our doctor suggested an X ray as there was a swelling. So we went for an X ray. Everyone was sure that there would be a fracture in the toe. But when your master heals, nothing can touch you, not even the weight of a 50 kg window. With great difficulty, but with the strength of my Mohanji, I took Swasti to the X ray clinic. At first glance, the doctor said there was a fracture. She placed Swasti's foot on the table. I started chanting Mohanji's Gayatri and closed my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I could see that the doctor was shocked. She was taking multiple pictures and close ups. I asked her if everything was all right. She said, How is it possible? It's impossible. With so much swelling, there is no fracture? She took a couple of more close ups. Nothing was there. She then called her senior doctor. He saw her foot. He was sure of a fracture. Then he took pictures, and I knew whose touch had created the magic. It was my father Mohanji, for sure. After taking so many pictures, the senior doctor wanted to take a picture of the other foot to compare. I was smiling as I now knew that these guys were confused. Mohanji's magic and his healing touch was the power behind Swasti's recovery. The senior doctor took many pictures, but there appeared to be no cracks in the bone. Then he finally decided to declare that a crack may not be there. I could see the shock on both doctors' faces. Now Swasti is much better. Since no crack was visible, the doctor told me it was a hairline fracture and Swasti is recovering beautifully with the grace and the blessings of my Guruji Mohanji. The only reason behind her recovery and healing was my Guru's healing touch. Nothing can harm us when we have the grace and the blessings of our Guru. Love and gratitude always. We've come to the end of the reading of day 9 of the book Guru Leela, Grace That Heals, and we'll conclude by reciting the Mohanji Gayatri for 3 times. Jai Mohanji. ॐ परब्रह्मणे विद्महे शिवतत्त्वाय धीमहि तन्नो मोहन प्रचोदयात् ॐ परब्रह्मणे विद्महे शिवतत्त्वाय धीमहि तन्नो मोहन प्रचोदयात् ॐ परब्रह्मणे विद्महे शिवतत्त्वाय धीमहि तन्नो मोहन प्रचोदयात्